I'm kinda sad I didn't do more videos on this lady during her heyday. I'm happy to say she's seemingly on her way out. She's gone from being one of the biggest rising stars in the right-wing grift sphere to now, she's pulling along with a modest presence online, but it really does seem like her shtick has gotten old. And we're talking about Melonie Mac, the famous butter-eating chud grifter. If you look up Melonie Mac eating butter, there are a lot of results that come up on Google Images, as you can see. She's eaten a lot of butter to own the libs. Just gobbling down those cholesterol sticks raw. Like, I get that she likes butter, and the point is to like, haha, I'm eating, like, congealed milk fat to own the libs, but like, I get it. I get that, like, the libs hate butter or something. Can you at least use it on something, you know? Like pan fry a steak and then baste it in butter. You know, and if you really know what you're doing, you'll do it at a lower temperature and not burn the butter. That's the key. Like, I don't know. I feel like she needs to actually eat something with the butter, because it's not good on its own. She's pretending like she likes it. Anyway, she's been putting out some pretty out-of-pocket content lately. A lot of it are blatant attempts to gain relevance off of any popular new piece of media that's come out. Many of those attempts have fallen hopelessly flat for a channel her size. However, some examples are her recently putting out videos pro-AI, anti the NFL having male cheerleaders because it's gay. That's her argument. It's gay, and I mean, she doesn't even attempt to argue why gay is bad. Though, the video that caught my eye was one she put out 5 days ago that I decided we absolutely have to cover. We absolutely have to cover it. Called Gay Marriage Could Be Overturned. And in the thumbnail, it's her saying this could save America. Now, for those that don't know, I actually covered this story on its own. So if you want to hear a non-fridge temp IQ take on the situation, you can look that video up when it comes out. It'll already be out, already when this comes out. So just go find it in my recent uploads. But gay marriage is kind of under threat right now. The Supreme Court is possibly, Project 2025 already laid it out as part of the plan, are possibly going to eliminate federal protections for gay marriage, just like they did with Roe v. Wade. Now, Melonie Mac here is going to be celebrating that in this video. Keep in mind, though, this woman is either one of the dumbest people to ever exist, or one of the most shameless people to ever exist. Because she is so into the right-wing culture war grift, to the point where, like, on Twitter, half of her tweets are just calling people the F-slur, or calling them gay. She's so low effort, it feels like she's gotta be, like, a knowing grifter who doesn't buy her own bullshit. Like, I don't feel like she's actually getting high on her own supply. She seems like she's just saying what she knows the people watching want to hear. I don't think she believes in much of any of it. One thing that does seem to be a consistency in her content, though, is that she does seem to be a real gamer, at least. Like, she does seem to actually be a hardcore, classic Lara Croft Tomb Raider fan. You know, back when Lara Croft, much like Melonie Mac, oddly enough, would just trample everybody in her path regardless of where they come from, who they are, or who's paying them, and what their job is, in order to get that bag. Kind of makes sense that she would identify so much with old-school Lara Croft, who was just a murderer, who just killed people for riches, that she would then steal from, like, ancient, like, sites. That's literally what Lara Croft did in the old games. She was a monster. Like Hitler-level monster. So it kind of makes sense Melonie Mac likes her so much. Just girl boss your way through, just armies of dead people just to get that bag. I get why she lives by that character. I get it. There's a lot of things to relate to there.
So the Supreme Court is to hear a case about overturning same-sex marriage, which would be a huge win for America and society, and hopefully getting on the right track with God.
I just realized how quiet this video is, but I imagine none of you would complain if I just muted it and you didn't hear any of it.
As a whole, and receiving God's favor on our nation, because
yeah, she's so low effort with it that she just does the whole like God hates gay people and that's why gay people are bad thing. You and Vosh have the same take on Lara Croft? What do you mean we have the same take on Lara Croft? Have you ever seen gameplay of the old Tomb Raider games or played them? Lara Croft is literally just killing soldiers and random like private like treasure hunters. Anybody with guns that is in her way, she kills them on sight and then takes the treasure and hoards it in her big-ass mansion. Like, no. Like, OG Lara Croft, before they rewrote her story in recent games and made her this, like, sympathetic lady whose, like, father was killed but taught her to love, like, exploring the world and discovering, like, the secrets of ancient societies. Like, that was not her deal originally. Her whole deal was, like, this belongs in my house. I'm the personification of what the British did to India. Also square titties. Yeah.
Because part of the downfall that we have seen in America has been ever since this happened. The slippery slope was real. The boomers were right about that. Let's dive into this.
Yeah, she is so low effort. She basically just defaults to God hates the gays, so the gays are bad, which means anything pro-gay must be destroyed. We're not going to get much in the way of tangible arguments to tangle with in this video. All I can really do is just pick apart how dumb she is and how pathetic the people that watch this stuff must be. I like how she doesn't even sound like her heart is in it, you know? If you've seen the season premiere of the new South Park season, the episode where Clyde, or no, it was the second most recent, the most recent episode, the one where Clyde becomes a right-wing grifter, and he just goes up on stage and says, I don't know, lesbians are an abomination to God, or I don't know, and the whole crowd is just clapping, but his heart's not even in it. He's just saying what he knows they want to hear and getting paid for it. He's just trying to get his nut. Melonie Mac's just trying to get her nut, just like what that South Park episode laid out.
Video and talk some more, because there are a lot of people who disagree with me, even those who, call themselves believers. I think that's very confusing why they would be opposed to something like this, but I digress. I will dive more into that moment.
You know who else is opposed to, who's a Christian and is opposed to the abolishing of gay marriage rights? The creator of VeggieTales. The creator of VeggieTales has a podcast, like a live stream that he does, where he's regularly calling out these, hate merchant right-wing figures. Because, come to think of it, VeggieTales actually taught the ideals of the Christian religion to be kind and honest and charitable. And yeah, they did teach a lot of Bible stories and stuff, and implied heavily, at least, that they were true. But at the end of the day, the goal of VeggieTales was to teach kids the good parts of Christianity that everybody should take from it. The love thy neighbor type stuff, the Jesus-like principles. And so, as you can imagine, its creator is not a big fan of Christianity so commonly these days being utilized to peddle hate. Because to him, it isn't about hate. It's about love. And there are a lot of Christians out there that actually follow Jesus's teachings, and they love their neighbor. They love gay people. Even if they don't like gayness, they hate the sin, not the sinner in their eye. And so they still love gay people and show them compassion. And so, unfortunately, yeah, there are, well, not unfortunately, unfortunately for you, Melonie Mac, there are a lot of gay people, or not gay people, there are a lot of Christians out there that have no problem with gay people getting married. And frankly, at the end of the day, neither should you. It doesn't affect you in any way. And there's I don't know why culturally there hasn't been a term made for the types of people who are loser enough to obsess with people that have no effect on them. There needs to be a term for people like that. That's what Melonie Mac is. That's what her fans are, especially.
Momentarily. So here we have leading report, Supreme Court to hear case that may overturn same-sex marriage. We've got some of the comments. Some people are like, yes, let's go. Then you've got other people who are saying, why do you want court in their bedroom? Look at all the hateful bigots.
Party of small government, by the way. Also, you know what's really funny? I've got an image for you guys. It's relatively similar to this situation because it has to do with the legality of certain kinds of marriage. But I posted this in a chat with some friends earlier today, and I just think it's a fun image. Let me see. Can I open a link to this image? Open in browser. Perfect. Okay. 2024 voting map. So I want to show you guys something. Here's a map of all of the states in the United States that banned interracial marriage up until 1966 when the federal government, through the Supreme Court, made it legal across the country in every state. All the red states here are the ones that still kept interracial marriage illegal. Here is the voter breakdown by party of the last election. You'll notice something, that literally every single state that once banned interracial marriage voted Trump strongly, pretty strongly. And not even, it wasn't close in all those states. It went hard for Trump, and no one expected it not to. It's always the damn South, isn't it, right? So, like, yeah, there's plenty of exceptions here, don't get me wrong, but, like, I just want to show you guys how very clearly there is an agenda among Republicans who are still alive today, not only to get rid of gay marriage, but at one point they were enforcing the illegality of interracial marriage in their states. So, whenever you think like, how widespread would like the bans on gay marriage be? We've got maps that might more or less tell you exactly where you don't want to be.
In the comments, they say, we have much work to do in educating y'all. Then you got some saying, finally. I think marriage in general should just be illegal. Wow, we've got a full T-Rard take here. All right. So
T-Rard? Come on, say it, retard. Are you that scared of getting demonetized? Really? Really, it's that much just all about the money for you? God, come on. Like, you're a conservative. Your whole thing is saying slurs. Say it. Woke is dead. No one cares anymore.
I'm going to share more of my opinions momentarily, but let's see how this is going to happen, what's going on, the likelihood of something like this actually being overturned, and so on and so forth. So here we have by the super reliable ABC News. Haha. Anyway, Supreme Court for
I'm sorry, what's the reliability rating by, like, every single independent fact-checking organization on the face of the planet for ABC News compared to the average news source that she cites? I'm curious. Oh, but are all the fact-checkers? Remember, Joe Rogan famously said fact-checking should be illegal, so she might hold that opinion, too. I wonder why so many conservatives tend to fall on that side of things, like anti-fact-checkers. Something I've seen that's become a common phrase among both really far off conspiracy theorists like the flat earthers and stuff, as well as the right wingers. Funnily enough, a famous example of someone who gets called this a lot is Milo Rossi, the guy who does the Mini Minuteman channel and debunks conspiracy theories. They love to call him a Google debunker, is what the flat earthers like to call him, and the people who say there were giants or aliens built the pyramids, they call him a Google debunker. Do you want to know where the first time I ever heard the term Google debunker was? Lauren Southern called me a Google debunker. That was the first time I ever heard that phrase in our debate because I was just disproving a bunch of the claims she made in her documentaries, like her Farmlands documentary about the supposed genocide of white South Africans. We watched that documentary, like on stream. I didn't show it, but we watched multiple of her the Borderlands one too. We watched on stream before the debate. And we got a bunch of the responses to the claims she made in those documentaries. And her response was to say, why are you calling out these things that I've said in my past documentaries like some Google debunker? It's like, that was the first time I ever heard that term. So when I started hearing the flat earthers calling Milo Rossi and like, what's his name? Professor Dave Explains Google debunkers, I quickly realized, yes, I'm on the right side of politics and history if people like this are calling me that. Because, like, what they're mad about is the fact that their arguments can be debunked with a Google search. And they're scared that maybe one day a critical mass of their fans will start Googling the things they're curious about instead of taking their favorite pundits' word for it.
Formally asked to overturn a landmark same-sex marriage ruling. So this is Kim Davis, a former Kentucky county clerk who was jailed for 6 days in 2015 after refusing to issue marriage license to gay couple on religious grounds, is appealing a $100,000 jury verdict for emotional damages. Yes, so you see that. There's a petition. She claims the high court's decision of marriage rights same-sex couple.
I just realized we're almost 2 minutes in and she hasn't tried to sell us anything yet. That's impressive.
Under the 14th Amendment, due process was egregiously wrong. The mistake must be corrected, wrote Davis's attorney Matthew Staver in the petition. He calls Justice Anthony Kennedy's majority opinion in Obergefell.
You can do it. Sound it out. You can do it, Melonie. Come on. You know your English language. Just sound it out.
Obergefell, legal fiction. I don't know how to even pronounce that. So the petition.
Well, if you sound it out, it would be Obergefell. 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 Just break it down. Just sound it out. Come on. We learned this in, God, before first grade. I don't remember when the last time, like, a teacher said sound out the word to me, because that's just been my go-to when I don't know a word and I'm like, oh, that's a weird one. Let me try that. Unless it's Polish. If it's Polish, then I just say fuck you and move on.
Appears to mark.
I'm sorry, but Polish words too difficult for me.
The first time since 2015 that the court has been formally asked to overturn the landmark marriage decision. Davis is seen as one of the only Americans currently with legal standing to bring a challenge to the precedent. What a hero. Like, let's go. This is like actually standing on Christian values, which we need. And a lot of people don't like this. They don't like to hear this stuff, or they kind of want to function in a libertarian capacity.
Okay, so is she just admitting that she's an authoritarian now? That it's like big government, as long as big government's enforcing what they believe in, they're Sky Daddy?
But my challenge to you guys who have these opinions is that America just simply won't be blessed if we are living in abomination to God, right? And if we...
There's not much in the way of approaching an attempt at like a solid argument for what she believes in these videos. It's always like, hi guys, I'm here to express all the political opinions you all already agree with. And by the way, God hates gays. Give me money now. That's literally all of her videos. Like, you guys request that I cover Melonie Mack often. You guys have done it for many years. You've requested I cover this lady. But every time I watch one of her videos, there's like no substance to it outside of her just occasionally commentating, gays are an abomination. And at a certain point, I have to just start making fun of her appearance, because there's not much else to say in response to gays are an abomination than that. Like, no, actually, gays are not an abomination. I know a lot of gays, and most of them tend to be nice. Though they are people, so there are some mean or cringe gays, naturally. Just like there's mean and cringe all sorts of people. But if you're one of the types of people who tries to generalize any group under a monolithic label, you're wrong, you're probably stupid, and you need to see the world simplistically for your head not to explode because you're too simple to understand the complexity of reality.
There's some things that we saw the slippery slope with the gay marriage thing. We saw what that turned into. We've got a ton of woke.
What did it turn into? Because I remember when gay marriage was being like proposed for federal legalization, the argument from you people was that, like, if we legalize gay marriage, people will be fucking their goats. And yet the only places where it's legal to fuck your goat are the places where it's about to be illegal to get gay married. So, sorry, you're wrong.
Churches now. I just reacted to some of those gay churches. We've got just insanity with the gender confusion, all of that. We've got kids getting their genitals mutilated, right? And
You can't be having your generals get mutilated. You need them. How are you gonna command your troops without generals if they get mutilated?
Hormones, and they're being absolutely just destroyed. Their bodies are being destroyed and their lifespans are being shortened through these hormones and these.
You ever meet someone and you're like actively trying to compute if they're just drunk all the time or if they're really fucking dumb? That's what Melonie Mack is like, because she kind of acts like a drunk girl. You know, like if she kind of acts a little drunk on her camera. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is very common for these right-wing grifters to be sauced as fuck in their videos. I know the Quartering and famously the Critical Drinker are. I feel like a lot of these grifters, at a certain point, maybe many of them start as true believers in this nonsense. Like they, at some point getting into it, they're like, I think the left is cringe. I have conservative politics. I could totally talk about my beliefs and, maybe grow a bit of an audience off of it. And then they like start being genuine conservatives. Like they believe in that stuff and they're expressing what they believe. More often than not, that alone isn't going to get them anywhere. Maybe they do an experiment. You see this a lot. How many channels have you seen where you look at their like past on their uploads and you see they put out one video that was like, wokeness has gone too far. Some real dumb, like low-hanging fruit culture war nonsense. And the video like explodes. It does several magnitudes better than any of their past content. And every upload since then is nonsense right-wing culture war grift. How often have you seen that? I feel like at some point after that heel turn for a lot of these conservative grifters, they've got to be sauced as fuck when they're on camera, because at a certain point it's like clocking in to the killing floor at the butchers, right? At the slaughterhouse, where like it's considered one of the most depressing jobs in the world, and the people who work it are miserable. Like when you're doing something so horrific and you're selling your soul for a paycheck, doing something so like arguably evil, something that if someone saw you doing it, they'd think you were a monster. Like you will probably lose real life friends over it, Like I feel like at a certain point they have to like dull the guilt or like the voice of their conscience with some kind of something. And it seems like a lot of them opt for alcohol. A lot of these right-wing grifters come off as barely functioning alcoholics, but maybe I'm looking too much into it.
Surgeries and so on and so forth. Not to mention the adults too, because I don't like to see that happen to anybody, including the adults, right? And it's a sad thing. I don't say this from a place of condemnation. I say it from a place of, hey, I really would like to see better for people, and I really would like to see society encourage people onto a wholesome and healthy path that will be good for their heart and soul through.
I'm sorry. What's the rate of straight divorce compared to gay divorce? Like per capita, what's the rate of like straight people reporting they're happy in their marriages compared to gay people reporting they're happy in their marriages? Because from the last time I looked at that data, it suggested that gay people in their relationships are actually happier than the average straight relationship. I'm not saying straight relationships are bad because of that, which is your logic, if you follow it. But like just because some relationships might be less happy than others on average doesn't mean a certain type of relationship between two consenting adults two or more consenting adults should be made illegal. Much less, even if you think it's immoral, you got to make a strong case for why the state should be given the power to decide what consenting adults you can and cannot marry. And potentially, if this goes further, because we're talking about slippery slopes, we're using that as an argument, who you're allowed to be in a relationship with, period. Marriage is one thing. Is it that far to assume that this is the start of a slippery slope towards you're not allowed to date if you're gay? And is it that crazy to suggest that the same states that have fought to keep gay marriage illegal, that in many people's lifetimes today were once fighting to keep interracial marriage illegal, might not try to bring that back into the point of discussion? If you think interracial marriage or relationships are not on the chopping block, potentially, then you're putting a lot of faith in there being some arbitrary, frankly non-existent line in how far this administration is willing to go.
Jesus Christ and through God's order instead of all of this from Satan, because it is satanic. All of this ideology is from Satan, and it is only hurting society.
I would, like, from even like a theological perspective, I'd love for her to explain how homosexuality is satanic. Because frankly, if the gay community, not the gay community, if the Christian community wasn't so hostile to gays, there would probably be plenty of gays in the church. Like plenty, just open and proud and worshiping Christ. The problem is a lot of gay people don't get along well with Christianity because they have religious trauma for obvious reasons in most cases. But barring if that religious trauma was never formulated in the first place, many of them would probably have grown up and remained Christian despite holding the sexuality they have, because it's not a choice, it's not an ideology or a lifestyle, it's who they are. And who they are doesn't necessarily stop them from worshiping God. But it's the Christians who reject them, not the gays. And so, like, you could argue that their general separation from the church and their tendency to oppose it or to be atheist or agnostic, on average in America, could be, and you could argue theologically that's satanic, because what Satanism actually is, like biblically speaking, from the Bible, Satanism and the idea of satanic belief is not about summoning demons or worshiping Satan or loving evil or even loving sin necessarily. That's not what Satanism is about, according to the Bible. According to the Bible, Satanism is about believing that you can live your life free of the influence of God. The idea that you have free will that is determined by you and not gifted to you by God. And so you could argue that most gays are satanic and that many of them aren't Christian and live their lives believing that they can be happy and have their free will, and that their free will is from them and not a gift from God. However, I don't really think that matches, considering there are a lot of gay Christians out there. It just seems unlikely that that argument would hold up in an actual debate on theology. Because there's nothing about homosexuality or even pride, gay pride, despite pride being a sin, but it's not the same kind of pride. Like, even like gay pride is not anti-Christian. It is not satanic, or it does not promote the idea of separation from God, or foregoing God's advice and God's teachings in exchange for your own intuition and what you believe is best for you, and not what God or Jesus believe is best for you. Here's her in 2018 being pro-gay, and her in 2020 being pro-gay. So here's a little bit of very obvious proof that she's a grifter, because like she's had a long-term online presence and had a pretty recent political heel turn to follow the money. It's, an Anna Kasparian situation. It's happened a million times before. Everybody at this point should know where all the money is online when it comes to the political breakdown. It's like easily 99-1 with the right, instead of the left. And so here's Melonie Mack before she became a right-wing grifter. So, is Nathan Drake straight just for the sake of being straight? Newsflash, gay people exist and it's a normal thing. There are lots of games with straight couples, so you either have to be against all relationships in general or okay with them. Otherwise, you're just a bigot. Here's her 5 years ago. It's so sad that things are this way, Sag. I agree with you. These companies need to work on better representation and start letting their characters be gay, bi, pan, ace, etc. I always had a crush on Chris Redfield, but I would 100% support him being gay. Listen, guys, her and all her fans will just immediately flop onto some excuse of like, I changed, I found God. And you're totally meant to believe it was God that attracted her to being homophobic, not the mola mola she was getting for her rhetoric.
And we've seen the effects of that in society, right? If there ever was a case of exceptional importance, Staver wrote, the first individual in the Republic's history who was jailed for following.
Oh, look, we actually seem to have a Melonie Mac fan in chat right now. I don't think changing views equals grifting. It would just as much be grifting to change your beliefs, but not disclose that and continue to publicly support the opposite. Ruby Spacek, we all know, like, you're not succeeding at tricking anybody here into thinking that she actually had a political transformation sincerely at some point. IDK who she is, but she's hot. Ruby Spacek, are you Melonie Mac on an alt account? Are you her? No, trans daughter of water, you banned her! Dude, what if it was? What if that was Melonie Mac in an alt account in my chat? That would be fucking crazy. Dude, a debate with Melonie Mac would be funny as fuck. Ruby Spacek, she's a loser off 40-year-old? Do you guys know who that is? Is she, like, known? Who is that? Ruby Spacek? Is this somebody that's, like, known in this space that I just don't know about? The name seems familiar. Would be funny if it was Melonie Mac and an alt, though. It'd be funny as fuck.
Her religious convictions regarding the historic definition of marriage. This should be it. I mean, the historic definition of marriage.
Oh, no. Melonie Mac is a 40-year-old loser. That's what you're saying. Okay. I get what you mean. All right. Sorry.
God established marriage, right? And what happens is when God creates something and establishes something, Satan tries to pervert that. And we've seen that.
There is nothing about that in the Bible. I'm not even joking. Like, there's no, like, Satan is not Sauron. Okay, like he's not, like, rolling up like, oh, I'm the antagonist of the story. That is not how, like, Satan is not even a term that word is not in the Bible, if I'm not mistaken. Like, this is actually a, like, non-Christian's understanding of what religious people believe. I'm not wrong, am I? Are there any Christians in chat that can confirm what I'm saying here? Like, in the Bible, if I'm remembering right, like, at no point is Lucifer, Satan, the devil, whatever you want to call it. For one, the devil and Satan, I don't believe those terms are ever used. Lucifer is not, like, framed as this, like, all-encompassing antagonistic force in the way that, like, a lot of pop culture media frames it. It's just like, I don't know, she's kind of peddling pop culture Christianity right now. Like, this does not really vibe with the actual beliefs of or what even what the Bible says. Yeah, they never say Satan in the Bible. I know that for sure. Satan comes from the Torah, and it means adversary. Yeah. A lot of Satan iconography comes from Paradise Lost, and a lot of the, and the Divine Comedy. I was about to mention that, actually, that a lot of the imagery of hell comes from Dante's Inferno. So, yeah. Satan is nowadays associated with wrath. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like, there's just a lot of... It's easy to spot someone who doesn't know Christianity that well, like actual Christianity, because I don't think she even grew up in the South. I'm not a Christian, but I grew up in the South, okay? Like, I've been to some church sessions, what are they called? Services. I've sat there, I've listened to real pastors in the crowd tell Bible stories, and I've enjoyed it. I always liked it. Even as a kid, I believed none of it, and I would go to friends, like, Sunday school, like, when they're, like, I'd be staying at their house, like, for over the weekend, and I'd go to Sunday school with them, and I'd go in as, like, a guest, and I'd be like, I wouldn't let anyone know I didn't believe in any of it, but I still enjoyed learning about, like, it. We're doing Noah's Ark today. I know that story. You know, it's like, it was fun. It was fun. You know, just nod your head and smile and enjoy the good parts of it. Though I will say, one of the services I sat in on was this. I was a teenager. I was like 15 maybe. And there was a girl on the swim team I had a massive crush on who was very Christian. And she invited me to go to church with her. I was like, man's gotta do what a man's gotta do, okay? So I agreed to go to church with her. Now, to date this story a little bit, at that time, in theaters was X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men Apocalypse was the movie in theaters at that time. You'll find out why this is relevant in a moment. So, me and this girl, we go in, and it's in this, like, sort of like this room where you might hold a play, right? Like, there was a stage, and there were, like, a lot of area for folding chairs to be set out. It wasn't, like, a super high-budget thing, but it was big. It was like they had an impressive setup for a fairly rural church. And so, it seemed like it was very much a service oriented towards teens, because they had very much like your stereotypical, like, I'm the cool guy Christian, you know, I'm somewhere in my 20s, early 30s, you know, your guess is as good as mine, you know, I know all the pop culture stuff, I know what the kids are into these days, hey. And so he's giving the service, and it's nothing you don't expect for so far, but then he asks us, who here is going to go see the new X-Men movie this weekend? Anyone going to go see X-Men Apocalypse this weekend? And a bunch of people in the crowd are like, yeah, me, I'm going to see it. I love X-Men. And he's like, well, I hope you have a good time at the movie. I hear it's really good. I hope it's good. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to go see it myself. But let's not forget, in this movie, the villain, Apocalypse, is claimed to be a god. A god. Lowercase g god. And I want you all to remember that there is only one God. And to claim otherwise is satanic. Now, that is true. Claiming there is another God besides God is satanic, from my understanding of the Bible. And so he goes on this. He didn't exactly call it satanic necessarily. I don't think he said the term satanic, but he heavily implied that it was to distance yourself from the love of God, to believe or give any credence to the idea of any other deity existing besides God. But yeah, they that was a very funny and memorable moment from one of the church services I sat in on, because I just did not expect X-Men Apocalypse to come up, and for me to be lectured about how, like, now listen, Apocalypse is not a real god, okay? Only God, Yahweh, is the real God. He didn't say Yahweh, but yeah. I dropped his real name, you know. I dropped names here, okay? I know him personally. First name basis with God.
Not with marriage. Satan has tried to pervert God's creation through these abominations that the Bible says is an abomination, right? So that is corrupting what God created, marriage, which is a beautiful thing.
Did you get the girl, though? No.
Between a man and a woman. So you've seen that. And then you also see, look at God's creation with creating humans, male and female. And then you have Satan perverting that by
Listen, I claim to be good at politics, not that I had Riz, ever.
telling people that they are born in the wrong body and making them destroy their bodies. It's demonic. It's satanic. It's definitely demonic influence. So there are certain reasons why some people do these things for attention and so on and so forth. But a lot of it, I would say, honestly, and so it's all.
God, honestly, after reading those tweets where she was, like, explicitly being pro-gay, now knowing for a fact it's a grift and that she doesn't believe a word of what she's saying right now, like, don't even go into this under the assumption she believes any of what she's saying. Like, fully understand she knows what she's saying is nonsense, and what's going through her head right now is not affirmative agreement with what's coming out of her mouth. It's her actively thinking of what can be the most stereotypically homophobic Christian nationalist thing she can say. And, yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like this pattern is working all that well anymore, to tell you the truth. She seems to have lost her thunder. People don't seem to see a lot of hype in her grift these days. Let's see, what are the most recent comments looking like? She seems to have, like, pinned and hearted all of the positive comments. You know how dumb this sounds? If you reverse gay marriage, then it only gives validity to the people constantly whining about homophobia. Like, yes, they can be very damn annoying. However, taking rights away will backfire and not be good. Terrible idea to celebrate and hope this happens. Dude, even her conservative fans are like, hey, like, I just have a problem and think the gays have gone too far and are asking for too much. But if we actually take their rights away, that's just going to make them feel like they were right all along. It's going to make them look like they were right all along. So even the conservatives who just feel like gays have gone too far and are asking too much are like, hey, don't start giving them reason to look like they're right. That's really funny that even some of her own fans in the comments are telling her that, like, why are you celebrating this? This is too far. That's, not for any of the right reasons, to be clear. I know that. But, like, it is still funny that for entirely the wrong reasons, granted, her own fans are telling her this is a dumb video. But yeah, I almost got a brain tumor watching this. Hopefully my next MRI doesn't come back with some worrying results. Make sure you guys get yourself checked regularly. When watching conservative content, you have a high risk of developing brain cancer. Just spontaneously, really. So keep an eye on all that. Get yourself checked up at least once a year. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way whatsoever, then please consider leaving a like and a comment down below. If you're watching this after the fact in the future when this comes out as its own video, and if you're watching it live right now, consider dropping a like. It's not too late yet to support the stream. I really appreciate it. Only about 20% of my audience likes my videos on average. Far less actually comment, which is unfortunate because the #1 way that a channel grows on YouTube is having a high like and comment to view ratio. So if you guys want to support the channel for totally free, consistently, and know that every day you're doing your part to help boost this channel into to greater prominence, to reach more people, and hopefully, God, I hope, convince more people not to be fucking stupid, then please consider hitting that like button and leaving a comment. It really helps immensely. Be a liker, not a lurker. And of course, if you want to see more from me in the future, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And don't forget, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can also follow my social medias, linked down below. I highly recommend, in particular, that you join my fan Discord. Excuse me, I had to burp. As that is the main hub of my fan base and my community. And on top of that, I host weekly gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, and movie nights there every week, every Friday. So don't miss it. Join the Discord through the link down below. You won't be sorry. And finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, go the extra mile and help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to someone else on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and I hope to see you again next time.